Good morning. Got a SCION XB in the shop today. I'm going to be going through an engine replacement. This particular vehicle is consuming a ton of oil. The customer's having to add like a quart of oil a week. And we checked the engine. It looks like the piston rings are not sealing. So we're going to go in and put a used motor in from the junkyard. Let's get into this. Per usual, I've never changed one of these before, but I'm going to be looking for everything that connects the engine to the body. So that's like lines, hoses, wire harnesses, stuff like that, exhausts. Just got to start disconnecting all that. Batteries got to come out, intakes got to come out. So we're just going to start pulling crap off. Quick check-in from the bottom. I got these axles disconnected. I got this exhaust off. Luckily I got that off because the bolts were kind of rusted. Looks like I gotta disconnect the steering rack. What I'm gonna do is pull this entire subframe down in one piece with the motor in it. And we're just gonna drop the whole thing on a table. I think I almost have everything done on the bottom besides the steering rack. I'm going to disconnect it from the column on the inside of the car. So to get this bolt off the exhaust, I hammered a 13mm socket onto it. It's 12 point. And that helped me break that loose. Luckily all the other stuff came off, like the axles. I know this isn't real rust. People in the Midwest are probably like, dude, that's not rust. Alright, quick check-in. I got, I think, everything disconnected from the top here and the bottom. So you can see I got the shift linkage disconnected. I routed it up back there, just out of the way. I got the harness all disconnected. The AC lines are all disconnected. I plugged the AC with caps so nothing falls into the compressor. Got this slave off. I think we are ready to drop this thing, so I'm gonna grab the table. So the plan is to drop the motor on this table. You're probably wondering what all these stands are, these jacks are for. But I usually will like find ways to prop underneath here and underneath here, and have like 4 points. And then I ratchet strap the whole subframe down to the table. And that just helps keep everything in place while you drop this thing. So you'll see what I mean. At this point, you'll see me just inching the motor out of the vehicle. On the top here, I'm just making sure that motor mount is not wedging and pulling up on the motor as I go up with the car. Got this thing on the table. This is what I was talking about, using all these jack stands. Yeah, it looks crazy, but having it on a jack stands actually makes getting it back in a lot easier. You see I ratchet strapped the subframe down. We got 2 jack stands under the engine and transmission, so we can lift it and lower it when we go back in. But now it's time to transfer all these parts from this motor to the other motor. Here I had a real hard time getting this drive axle out. It was quite a bit of rust, so I kept having to like wedge a screwdriver in through the top and into the bottom, hitting it with the hammer. Eventually it came out. I got this thing stripped down a bit. The harness is off, and A lot of these parts that were on there are off that I have to swap over. This is the new motor that we got from the junkyard for this. So I gotta strip this down, remove all the crap that I don't need, and then swap all those parts onto this. After I get all those parts off that other motor, what I'm gonna do is hook this up to the cherry picker and put this on the ground. And I'm gonna take the transmission off while it's on the ground. It's a little easier to slide off. I'm gonna have to swap the clutch and swap the straining onto there. That's the setup I got on a cherry picker. I like using this thing because it allows me to like shift the weight so that it stays level. I usually do a strap like this just to tilt it if I need to, but we really just need that for later. But put this on the floor, I'm gonna take the straining off, swap it on the other motor, and put it back in the cradle. I got the new motor on the table. So now we're in reassembly. We gotta pull all those parts back onto this one. I think the camera angle was a little off just now when I was using the cherry picker, but you saw me remove it, so it's the same process to put it back on. Alright, I got this new motor pretty much assembled, ready to go back in. I just decided to start banging out some work because I feel like I was wasting time video or recording. So sorry you didn't get to see a lot of that reassembly, but honestly it's just busy work and it's just the reverse of what we did earlier. But pretty much ready, but it's the end of the workday and I'm gonna come back on Monday. It's Friday, and finish this. And I'll keep filming when I get back. It's Monday, so picking back up from Friday, where we left off, we got all the parts back onto the motor. It's pretty much ready to go back in. With these scissor jacks underneath, this thing should be in the exact same place as when we removed it. So it makes bolting the mounts up a lot easier. So on Friday, I don't think I showed how I strap these down, but I usually just find a place on the subframe somewhere, go down underneath the table, ratchet strap it. I got a second one here, down under the table, ratchet strapped. And the reason I do this is just so that when I use the cherry picker, the engine stays right, or not the engine, sorry, the subframe stays right where it needs to be, so that when it comes to putting the engine back into the subframe, it's a lot easier. And also having these little scissor jacks under here, if you have to do little minor adjustments when you're reinstalling this thing, it's easy to just move up or down. But we are back in reassembly. Like always, this is just the reverse of removing it, so I'm probably going to time lapse most of this. When you're going back in, just take it slow, inch by inch, keep checking, going back and forth between lowering and looking. And then you'll see me here on the bottom, I start to fiddle with the jacks, moving it up and down on the left and the right of the engine, just to get these bolt holes lined up and get these bolts started. Got this thing bolted up. Axles are installed. I got this front cross member also installed. And the mounts up top are tightened. So all that's really left on the bottom is the exhaust. This plastic shield that goes here. And the wheels, and all the rest of it's done from the top. Alright, I got this thing back together. Didn't take too long once the motor was bolted back in. Well, let's hop in the car and start this thing. Let's see if I forgot to plug anything in. I always get nervous starting a car after doing so much work, even after 20 years of doing this. So let's crank this thing. Alright, she's running. Do hear kind of a high-pitched noise, so not sure what that is. Let's go check that out. No check engine lights though. Well, that noise seemed to be coming from the heat shield. I was missing this bolt, so I added it, and it has quieted down. So I don't know if it's gonna make more noise if I rev it up. We'll find out later. But right now it's bleeding. I got the AC machine hooked up, so I got to recharge it since we discharged it. But everything's looking good. No check engine lights. I think there might be a small oil leak I may need to address. We'll see. It's kind of dripping from the oil pan. Sometimes the junkyards will send motors with leaking oil pans. I don't know, like they zip them off or something. So be aware of that if you ever do motor swap and the oil pan's leaking. We're out on the test drive now. Seems to be driving pretty good. The steering wheel is slightly to the left, so I have to pull this back into the shop and turn the steering column one tooth, like when I removed it from the steering rack. But that should be easy. I thought I had it right, but I guess it's a little bit off. But she's driving good. Look, another car with a TPMS light on. I checked all the tire pressures and they're all at like 34, so probably has a sensor out. I'll scan it when I get back. But another one done, guys. Thanks for watching.